Hey, I thought that today I would do a book haul that covers December and January because I got quite a few books in those months. In fact, I've got 22 books to tell you about. They're a good mix of like gifts from Christmas and then books that I've purchased myself, either new in the shops, from Amazon, or from charity shops. And they literally cover loads of different genres. There's probably something in here for everyone except fantasy. Sorry, just don't do fantasy that much. So I'm going to start with the Christmas gifts first. And first up is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. If you have not heard me rave on about this book, then you've not watched any of my other videos, because I go on about it all the time. Absolutely love it. Set in the 80s, and a group of women are in a book club reading about true crime. Then a stranger moves into town. They suspect him of being like either some kind of dodgy criminal, and then they start getting suspicions that he's a vampire. Absolutely fantastic. I won this during the Horror-thon Christmas edition readathon. So yeah, thank you very much. Then I got The Great Pretender by Susanna Cahalan. I got this as a gift from my friend Nikki. It's been on my Amazon wish list for like many years. It's non-fiction about some psychiatric experiments in the 1970s. Dr. Rosenhan, he decided to send sane patients into the asylums to kind of go undercover and report back what was happening with patients with regards to treatments, behaviour, medications, things like that. I'm not 100% sure what kind of things they reported back. I just know that this is actually quite a well-known experiment now within the field, and it helped to bring psychiatry to its knees at the time, kind of inducing a lot of changes made to the system. And from the Horror-thon Christmas edition event, I also got this one, Deathless Divide. And this is the sequel to Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, which is the zombie fiction that's also historical fiction, because it's set round about the time of the American Civil War. I have just this morning finished reading Dread Nation. Let me tell you, if I could fit it in, I would be literally starting this right this second, because oh my god, absolutely fantastic. And then the Pop Sugar Book Challenge group on Facebook did a Secret Santa gift swap, and these next two books I got from my Secret Santa. I don't know who it is, but thank you very much. I got Looking at Stars by Lewis Hine. This is non-fiction. It's about a 17-year-old boy who, at the age of 17 months, he was diagnosed with an incurable brain tumour, and they didn't expect him to survive at all. He's obviously written this book at 17 years old, so he did survive, and he has just been like a beacon of hope for many children and families over the years. He's also done a lot of campaigning around how no child should have to face illness alone. Lewis is still extremely high risk of several different like medical conditions and complications of his illness that could kill him in a heartbeat. And this is kind of about how he copes and gets on with everyday life and finds the strength to inspire others. City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is middle grade as far as I'm aware. This again has been on my wish list for quite some time. Cass is a young girl. She discovers that she can speak to ghosts, and when she goes on a trip with her family, she discovers there's another girl who's got very similar powers. However, this girl is more advanced, and Cass realises how much she's got to learn about what she's able to do and how dangerous it can be. And that is literally all I know about this, but it just sounds really interesting and fun. And the next 5 were gifts from my husband at Christmas. So first up, Reboot by Amy Tintera. This is sci-fi. It features a girl called Ren. She dies, and 178 minutes later she reboots, and the longer that somebody is dead, the more skilled they become as a reboot. So they become stronger, faster, better at learning martial arts, things like that. Cass ends up being the strongest, most deadliest reboot out there because she was dead the longest. So she ends up being like a trainer for new reboots. However, one of her kind of trainees is a guy who's only been dead for 22 minutes, and compared to all the rest of the reboots, he's practically still human, and he begins to fall short of the standards that he needs to meet. Ren is told to just basically eliminate him, but then she decides to go against orders. This is YA, and I have a very, very strong feeling that it's going to be like enemies to lovers type thing. But yeah, it sounds really good. The Knowledge by Lewis Dartnell. This is non-fiction. It is talking about how to rebuild the world after an apocalypse. This is going to be more out of interest reading this. It covers lots of things like how to make food spread further, how to build your own little mini wind turbine, what plants are best to plant at certain times of the year, how to find medicinal plants and things like that. It's basically just everything you might need to know if the apocalypse happened and the world ended and you've got to rebuild from scratch. So yeah, sounds interesting. Right, the next three are a series, and I am super excited to have this series. So it's the Hatching series by Ezekiel Boone. I've read The Hatching, haven't read the others, but after reading The Hatching, I want to desperately read the others. It's about a killer swarm of spiders, basically. Flesh-eating spiders. They overrun the towns and cities that they end up in, and, you know, the world is practically ending. And there's literally not much more to say about them because it is just that kind of creature thriller horror type book. Next up are the ones that I bought myself. So the first two are part of the Morganville Vampire series that I have read previously and I've decided to collect because I absolutely love it. It's a YA series. It's about vampires. It came out when Twilight was like really big, and it's just such a great, I really enjoyed this series. I just think it's brilliant. So I decided to collect them. However, how annoying is it that the books are different sizes? That's so frustrating. And then one that I just don't even need to tell you about at all. It's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but it's a special 20th anniversary edition of this book, and it's the Ravenclaw version because it's blue, obviously. I was convinced I didn't own this, and I got really excited when I saw it in the charity shop. And then when I got home, it's actually the book. But never mind, I've got duplicates of loads of others, so I'm okay. Next up is a non-fiction about the police in England. It's called Line of Duty by Wensley Clarkson. I don't know if this is a memoir as such, or if it's just somebody who has had different bits of information leaked to them or that they've discovered and they've kind of put it together in a book. No idea. However, I am very intrigued by this because I'm wondering what really does go on inside the police, and it talks about police corruption, so I think that's going to be like really interesting. Then The Twins of Auschwitz by Eva Moses Carr. There's nothing I can say. It's an Auschwitz camp survival type story. It's fiction, but it's possibly based on some true stories. And even though I always say I don't really like historical fiction, Auschwitz books always are fantastic. So I'll be adding this to my collection of historical fiction books. And one that I picked up because I spotted it and it kept playing on my mind, and I was like, do you know what? This might actually be interesting and might help. It's Why We Eat Too Much by Dr. Andrew Jenkinson. I do struggle with my weight. I know I could be worse, but I also know that I could be a lot better. And I do struggle with, you know, sticking to eating all the good stuff. As in the good stuff for your body, not the stuff that tastes really great but is actually bad for you. So I've picked this up. However, I started having a look at it and the writing is tiny writing. It's very science based. There's lots of data and graphs, and I think it's going to be quite dry. So I'm probably going to just read this a chapter at a time rather than sitting and reading it as I would other books. But I am hoping that understanding how our body works, how metabolism works a bit better, how our drive to eat and our appetite actually works and how our mind plays with it, psychologically. So yeah, I'm hoping that helps somewhat. Then we've got Give Me the Child by Mel McGrath. I'm not actually sure if this is thriller or horror or like a hybrid of the two. We've got a lady called Kat who somehow meets a young girl called Ruby. Yeah, Ruby, whose mother has died, and Kat somehow decides she's going to try and help Ruby. However, really weird, like violent and chaotic things start happening within the town where they live, and Kat starts to think that it relates to Ruby somehow, and that Ruby's evil. So I don't really know what to think of this one, but I'm very intrigued by it. And then we all know that I love a good medical memoir. You can see them right behind me here. I'm building up a shelf of them. And so I went to the works in the January sales and I got 4 medical memoirs. So first up, Corrupt Bodies by Peter Everett. This is a mortician's memoir of working in the morgue. He has dealt with various high-profile murders and autopsies that have had to happen on victims. But he also talks about other, like, corrupt things that go on within the system, such as stolen body parts, recycled coffins, body parts and ashes getting mixed up, things like that. So that sounds fab. Then, I've been wanting to read this so much. How Death Becomes Life by Dr. I'm going to have to read this. Joshua Mesrich. This is a memoir of a transplant surgeon. So basically, how somebody's death gives life to somebody else with the transplants and all the cases he's worked on. And yeah, sounds fantastic. Then Fighting for Your Life by Lisa Walder. This is a paramedic's memoir, even though on the back in the synopsis it mentions a few of the cases that she talks about, and some of them are quite, I think they're going to be quite hard to read about. Then we've got The Secret Midwife by... It was published anonymously. Obviously a midwife's memoir, however, I'm hoping that because it's published anonymously, that the author felt that they could speak openly about things that they've seen, things that have happened, things that they're aware of within the NHS, and that it kind of gives us more of a real picture about what it means to give birth with the NHS support at this current time. And then this last one, I don't even know what it's about. I watched it on one of Kayla's videos, Books and Lala, and she was just talking about different formats of books that might be interesting and grab your attention. And this one just sounded fantastic, but I don't really know what it's about. I think it's YA sci-fi. We've got 2 girls. One is a replica of the other. I don't know what happens after that. However, I immediately ordered the book because, okay, so if you read it this way, this is one of the girls' stories, so you can see. But if you read it the other way, it's the other of the girls' stories. So she's called Gemma. She's the I think she's the replica. And then in the, when you finish the book of one, because you have that in the middle to tell you that's the end of that person's story. Now you can read it apparently like that, so you could read all of Lyra's story, then turn it over and read all of Gemma's story, or you could read it one chapter, keep swapping and doing one chapter, and it just combines the story, and either way apparently it's perfect. So I don't even know. I just thought that was really cool, and that's why I ordered it. So that is all the books that I got in December and January. Hopefully there's something there that's caught your attention and you're off to do a bit of Goodreads searching. So let me know if you've read any of these, please. Please comment below, just let me know, because some of them I haven't a clue what I'm going into here. Some of them I'm really excited. Am I supposed to be excited? Are they not that good? I don't know. Let me know. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon in another video. Bye.